Welcome to Norway. You are in the drop zone, and I am JealousFist. Yes, I am. Today, we're talking tactics, which allow you to outthink, outplay, and outperform your opposition. Part 3 of our little continuing discussion on consumables today. And today, we're talking the fun stuff. We're talking the reach out and touch somebody stuff. We're talking the run around real fast with dilated pupils, heart racing, chasing guy to the exit stuff. We're talking about things where you hit a little button and you know where your enemy is. We're talking about stuff that'll let you win. We're talking about the things that'll let you get all the airdrops and all the girlfriends of your friends' girlfriends. Let's get right into it. Very excited. Starting with caffeine. I love caffeine. Honestly, I debated about putting it on the front end here because I'm starting least awesome to most awesome. But I settled on just going with caffeine first because it is the cheaper and lower rarity of all of these. But it is fantastic. It allows you to run and run and run. Caffeine is almost like an old school cheat code. You put it in your hand, you run out of breath, you're in the red, all your wind is gone. You hit that RT button when you've selected it and boom, you're off to the races. It allows you to save so much time. And if you know how and when to use it correctly on a smaller map such as Valley or either Battery or Salbrook, you can pretty much run back and forth the whole map 3 or 4 times in the time it takes from the start of the match to when the airdrop comes. You can just be running that whole time. I love caffeine so much that because of the way the game is currently the last few months, I have eaten thousands upon thousands of caffeine pills. I can't talk enough about how great they are. They are just fantastic. Now, who should use caffeine and who shouldn't? Well, if you are a stealthy guy, don't bring them in. If you're a looter guy who's taking his time going in houses, don't bring them in. You're just not going to be running and gunning enough to justify that cost and especially justify the exposure of yourself running around out of cover, going to and fro. Now, if you're a guy who loves to get airdrops or you're a guy who loves to just run around and get kills, you can't go wrong. I mean, there is a reason they've limited us to 4 of these things. In the old days, you could bring in as many as you wanted, and people did. And I knew guys who would just be running, sprinting the whole game, and they were just absolutely terrorizing those poor rain jackets. Love caffeine, love it. Iodine is fantastic, but not for what people think it is. Yes, it does allow you 20 seconds of health loss from radiation, and it is a good 20 seconds. I have timed it, and I should have mentioned previously caffeine is 20 seconds as well. The iodine has been changed at some point. I'm not sure when. When it first came out, it was 5 seconds. Then they made it to 15 seconds, and then sometime in the recent past, they've given you 20 seconds on it, which is great. 20 seconds is perfect in my personal opinion. I don't think you should bring it in though. I think you should only use iodine when you find it, and you need to learn where you can get iodine in the maps that you play. And you should not use it unless you absolutely have to as a last resort to save your life from radiation. Don't ever use iodine because you planned it, right? Like, don't be one of those guys who brings in some iodine and then camps the barred house and uses the iodine to live through the radiation to get the safe, because guess what? All that stuff you just got out of the safe probably won't cover the cost of the iodine. You need to get iodine in games and then bring it back to you with your shelter and just hoard it until you have maximum return on materials for deconstructing stuff. Just stack up that iodine. Get a lot of it until you can deconstruct stuff for the maximum amount of return, and you will get rich. I always try to get all the iodine I can on a map. When somebody boosts the loot, I get excited and I go right to where all the heals spawn on whatever map I'm on. You need to get iodine, but don't use it, deconstruct it. Frag grenades, fragmentation grenades. These are great, kind of. They were better when they first came out. Now they're okay. I do like them. I don't bring them in anymore. I find that they are very useful, but in limited circumstances. Mostly what I mean by that is they are useful in close quarters combat situations. What do I mean by that? Well, they are fantastic in houses or around houses or in caves. Say somebody's in the sealed off section in Fjellken. People have been camping that exit there a lot lately. Well, if you have a grenade, you could just throw it in there and probably get him or force him back deeper into the tunnel to escape from it, and then you can run in there and shoot him. Or they're great for fights in the trees in Salbrook, other close up fights in situations like that, either to outright get them to die, like an outright kill, or you're forcing them to move, or you're just forcing an action, right? You're stirring the pot. But because they're a throwable, they roll around, right? So if you're on some slopes, if there's any kind of incline or decline, just save it. They never go where you want them to. I was in a standoff yesterday on Saubruck by the forest nursery, and the airdrop was there north of the storage shed, right? I threw 6 grenades at a guy, 6 of them. The loot was boosted. I had 6 of them I'd gotten out of time save. I threw 6 of them at this guy, and they just kept rolling away. I mean, perfect throws. No damage, nothing. So they are great, but in limited situations. Personally, I don't bring them in anymore. They're too expensive and limited, but I love when I have them because they do give you another option, though usually I don't need to exercise that option. Moving on. Flash grenades. Pretty much what I just said about frag grenades applies to flashbangs, but I would preference, believe it or not, the flashbangs over the frag grenades because I've actually gotten more use out of them. The fact that if they roll away on a decline or an incline, that flash they make, that concussive force that stuns the enemy and blinds him, has a pretty good area of effect actually. So if it rolls away, he's still blinded pretty well, or half, he's either fully blinded or he's got that halfway blinding thing going on, which is great. I've actually gotten more kills recently with the flashbangs than with frag grenades. But again, I don't bring them in. I make a real effort to check the blue combo boxes because the flashbangs are in those, or go to the Bard house if it's convenient while I'm running around trying to get the airdrop or get set up for the airdrop. They are useful, just like frags, just like I said, but in limited circumstances, and as you play, you'll see what I mean. One more thing as well about the throwable consumables before I move on to the next little section here, which are the consumables that I think are the most useful, is that the throwables need a little bit of work. We need an underhand throw, especially for when you're in bunkers like on Battery or in houses or in pole barns on the farm type maps. It's just too difficult to throw these things around when you're inside something or in close quarters, which is silly because they've made them and gave them to us specifically for those situations, right? I mean, that's what these things are for. Storming and assaulting closed in tight spaces or something above you, or you're in a hallway trying to clear a room, things like that. We need a better option to deploy these things. Mortar strikes are fantastic. They are fantastic. We have penetration with them again. They will penetrate through bunkers, through trees, through houses. Not as great as when they first came out, but it is something. Though they do need to do slightly more damage. For example, yesterday or the day before, me and my duo put at least 5, we might have put 6 mortar strikes on a big barn with 2 people in there, and we didn't get any hit markers. We got nothing. Now, if you drop 6 mortars, 5 or 6 mortars on a big building, something should happen, right? I don't know what should have happened. I have no advice, but that is not right. Anyways, that's a bit of an aside. Mortars are great for causing an action, stirring the pot, forcing somebody to do something, to move, or they're great, I think, for suppression. If somebody's in a house and you actually want them to stay in the house and not leave it so you can get there in time to kill them. Or they're great for area denial. What is area denial? Area denial is a fancy way of saying a guy is headed towards this exit right in front of us. I cannot catch him in time. So I equip a mortar in my hand, and I drop that mortar strike in the exit ahead of him so that by the time he's almost to the exit, the mortars are actually falling, and he's not going to run right into that mortar strike. He's been denied access to that area. Love that for that exact reason. I will chase people to the exits with my airdrop that they stole from me all the time, and mortars are very useful for that. Armor plates. Armor plates are very useful. Very, very useful. But not as useful as a lot of people seem to give them credit for. All armor plates really are is a preventative heal, right? It just soaks up some damage. I think of mortar plates as reaction time. They are a physical piece of reaction time that you put on your body, and they give you that critical 1 to 2 seconds when you're ambushed, when a guy jumps out of a bush and starts shooting you in the back. Before we had armor plates, if he was a halfway decent shot, you were dead. You were just dead. There was nothing you could do. You were dead. Now, if you have an armor plate on, you have that 1 to 2 seconds to either jump down behind the rock or spin around and put rounds into his face or around his face, anything. It gives you time to react. It gives you a little bit of a chance against campers and stuff like that to live, to just not be a victim, right? So they are outstanding. they aren't as good as they used to be. They used to be half again as good as they are right now. I disagree with that, but honestly, I haven't really been dying any much more, so I guess the nerf wasn't too bad, if I'm going to be completely honest about that. Last consumable that I wanted to talk about on this series are portable signals detectors. These things are outstanding. They give you the most powerful weapon you can possibly have in this game, which is information about where the next closest threat to your life is. You hit a ping. Portable signal detectors are pings. I'm just going to call them that. I'm sorry, guys. But you use a ping, and unless somebody's deployed a transmitter or a jammer, which we previously discussed, you know where a guy is at that exact moment that you hit that portable. You know where he is. What is more powerful than that? You spend the whole game tiptoeing around, scared. You've got goosebumps. The hair on the back of your neck is standing up. You hear that little string instrument from horror movies in the back of your mind constantly, because you're like, is there a guy in this closet? Is there a guy in that tree? Am I going to die? Am I going to live? Am I going to get home with these materials? Is my wife going to have to raise my little Norwegian baby by herself? These questions vex us, right? They are terrible. It's very frustrating to know whether when you open this door, am I going to die? When I loot this airdrop, am I going to die? That frustration, that anxiety, it's all taken away by these beautiful little devices of pings. If you do not use portables, I don't know what's wrong with you. Well, what's wrong with you is you probably just don't have them yet, or your materials aren't there yet. But once they are, and you start bringing pings, you're going to love them. They are outstanding. I always bring 2. Previously, before we had the limits, I would bring 4 because back then, half of the time they didn't work. But when they nerfed the pings that we could bring in, they seem to have fixed that issue. I haven't had many duds since then. I've had maybe 1 or 2, but again, to be totally open and honest, I'm not exactly sure if the pings were duds or maybe something else was going on, like the guy was in a jammer or something. I'm not sure. This season, people have been saying that the pings have been acting funny, but I can't 100% confirm that. Pings are great. Some people think about pings as a way to go hunt people. Before, that was true. You could bring in as many as you wanted, and you could hunt people down. But even back then, I disagreed with that. That was a lot of material. It's very expensive to use pings to hunt people down like that. And now that we only have 2, it's even less so. I have friends, they just can't get over this. They will blow through both of their pings in the first minute of the game. It drives me crazy. And then, of course, we end up needing those pings because the other people have rolled with the changes. I think pings are best for checking if the coast is clear. If right now this major action that I want to perform is safe. Is it safe for me to perform this major action? What is a major action? A major action is using the comm station, or starting the barred house, or shooting the locks off of the lock container, or hitting a switch on the time safe, looting the airdrop, or climbing the ladder on the middle exit in Valley. Right? A major action is any action where you are going to do something that exposes yourself or reveals your position, right? Or you're taking a big risk. You hit that portable and you see nobody's there. You see the closest person is a 2-minute run away, or you get no radio signals detected, which means everyone's dead. You know you're in the clear. You can loot, you can grab whatever you want, and you can get out to your children. It's fantastic. They are great. If you're not using pings, if you don't have them, you need to work on that. You need to work on your life because you're living your life wrong. That's wrong. We use pings around here. We use pings on this channel because we are trying to live. We're trying to achieve victory. Quick announcement. I have been getting a lot of questions from people about less tactical advice, like less actionable tips. I've been getting a lot of DMs about looting and where things are and my thoughts on that kind of stuff because, it's hard to learn all of these things. It's a big game. There's a lot of maps. So I'm working on something completely different for you looters. You people that like to loot and toot and scoot. You guys that like to get your glass, get your fuel, get your materials, get out. You people that like to sneak around and see how many times you can hit that X button, see how much stuff you can get out with in your bag. Well, I've got something coming for you. I've got something big. I've got something timely. I've got something that I can't even hint at coming for you guys. It's coming. So if you have new players or looters or anybody like that you want to share this channel around, because I've got something coming that I don't think anybody in Vigor has done yet. And if they have, they definitely haven't done it the way I'm doing it right now. I know these are big, bold claims, big statements. I'm standing by them. I'm actually very excited to show you guys this. But that is in the future. We've got to get this out now. Ladies and gentlemen, I love this good green Norway. I hope you do too. I hope this video helps you make this good green Norway red with the blood of your vanquished enemies. And next time you destroy one of those enemies, just take the time to say a quick little prayer of thanks to Queen Forsythia, and Our Lady Pirate, and all the Vigor gods, because they give us and make this good green Norway possible. And as always, I am your #1 retrieved airdrops, 10,000 and counting, all time, all systems, and your favorite official Vigor partner, JealousFist. Bye.
You